Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Board of School Trustees for Fort Wayne Community Schools. This meeting is open to the public during Indiana's ongoing public health emergency as declared by Governor Holcomb. Masks are required for visitors. Social distancing is being practiced at the meeting, therefore some members of the public who wish to attend may be excluded. Priority for attendance in person will be given to the members of the media. This meeting is being simulcasted on cable Comcast 54 and Frontier 24. It's being live streamed on our Facebook page and our LTV 2454 FWCS YouTube channel. And we will begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of members.
Good evening. Riley Booker, District 4.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Noah Smith, District 3.
And I am Ann Duff, President of the School Board and Member at Large. And to my left is Angela Filler, Clerk of the Board, and our Superintendent, Dr. Daniel. And under our awards and recognition this evening, we have a back-to-school video, which we would like to share with our audience. Well, thank you. First day of school is always such an exciting time, and it never grows old seeing those kids going back to school and seeing all those pictures on Facebook of the first day of school. Thank you for that video. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of our minutes from the August 9th meeting, vouchers and payroll, and our personnel report. Is there a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda?
I move for approval of the items in the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And Dr. Daniel, is there anything you wanted to mention on the personnel report?
As usual, bus drivers, high need. So if there are any people out there that are interested in bus driving, please contact us. I'd also like to say that I think we've done a tremendous job of finding additional staff and teachers specifically. Still need a few teachers in the special needs area. So again, if there are any retirees or individuals that have a licensing, please contact us. But we're in a much better place than what we were 2 weeks ago. So, and I think we're going to get there. It's just a matter of, we're actually probably a little ahead of what we've been in the past, but it's a challenge. So, but we have some incentives, we have some bonuses and so forth that people could receive if they would come to FWCS. So, look us up.
So bus drivers and bonuses?
Buses and bonuses and all that kind of thing, yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you. All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we have no old business. We only have one item under new business, and that is the board meeting schedule for 2022. It is recommended that the board approve the schedule for 2022 board meetings. Meetings are held at 6 p.m. on Monday evenings in the boardroom at the Greil Administrative Building. And so we meet the second and fourth Mondays of each month, except in May. We have 3 meetings, and only 1 in April and 1 in July. So is there a motion on the floor to approve the meeting schedule?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well, we are now ready for board member comments. So Steve is absent this evening. He is on vacation, although he wanted to be with us. So we'll start with Raleigh.
All right. So great first week back for me and my kids. I had the opportunity to go to several schools last week on the first day, which was really great. I went to Adams, and I got to watch them in their process of getting the kids in the cafeteria and, you know, getting them situated so that they can eat. And kudos to the staff there, who all work together to really make that work and make it as safe as possible. And hats off to the kids, too. They did a great job. I walked the halls with Principal Swinford at Southside High School and just watched him go through the process of assisting students with schedules. And it was just good to be in the schools and see, you know, business as usual besides the, you know, the mask. I do want to say that I was out in the community and I overheard a young lady saying that she was in high school and it was her senior year and she was nervous about going back to school. And I immediately just kind of tightened up. I was worried that it was going to be about COVID or the masks or something. And so when it was my turn to go up, I asked her how she was and what school she went to, and she said she was a Northrop senior. And I said, hey, you know, I overheard you saying that you were nervous about going back to school. Like, what are you nervous about? She said, I don't know what to wear on the first day. I was like, yes, that's such a you know, a high school girl answer. You know, she's excited about going to prom because she missed it last year and about going to games and things like that. And it was just so refreshing with everything that's going on and everybody's opinions about what's right and what's wrong to really be able to connect with a student and see that her head was still on just being a kid, being a student. So that's it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So what was your advice?
Oh, she didn't want my advice.
I can't believe that. Well, thank you. Jennifer?
I too was out a little bit later that day, out at Shamball Elementary School, and saw the kids back to business as usual, having, actually, it was an elementary, so a lot of those were already in school last year, but they were back at it, and everybody seemed happy. In my family, I do have 2 children, so same kind of, they were very excited to get back to school to, not necessarily back to school, but back to school to see their friends and their teachers, and trying to get them up. Of course, my son's in middle school, so getting him up at 6:50 every morning compared to the 10 that he was getting out of bed is a big difference. But I guess what I've noticed over this last week is parents, please stay in tune with your children, because I think that the pandemic affected us a lot more than what we may know, just as far as children's stamina in school, getting up, routine. Yeah, we had our routine last year, but we're back to business, of education, and especially high school children. They're loving being back with their friends. It was so exciting to see Friday Night Lights again, having those kids back out in the stands, seeing some tremendous football, by the way, this last weekend. But I do, please keep an eye on your children. Ask them, see how it's going. Stick with them, listen to them. And hopefully we'll continue on the right path, and they'll have a great school year. But I just do encourage you to take the time to listen to their concerns.
Thank you, Jennifer. Maria?
My student also had a very good first week of school, although he'd probably tell you different. I think by Wednesday he finally came home and had exciting news and wanted to talk about his day. I, too, over the weekend, was at a store, and one of our students said, "Do you work at Fort Wayne Community Schools?" And I said, "Well, it's complicated." I said, "Are you one of our lovely students?" And she said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Well, did you have a good first week of school?" And she said, "I was really nervous to go back because I was all virtual last year, so I hadn't been back in a while." But she said that she settled right in, and that I think that she was nervous that she wasn't going to be accepted, but that she just, felt welcomed, and it was business as usual, and she was excited to be back and see her friends as well. So that was really exciting to hear that all of the jitters that students may be feeling, that the building staff ease those nerves, and seeing their friends is always helpful. So just kudos to the building staffs. I know that there are 500 car riders in the morning at Weiser Park, and so kudos to their staff for getting 500 car riders through a car line, and parents still at work on time, so that was good for us. So thank you again to everyone. I know that it's exciting, but there was also a lot of things going on this year. So I just want to say thank you to our building staff and our bus drivers and nutrition services and teachers and principals and everybody who makes it work. So thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Julie?
Yeah, I got to go to Washington Center on Monday, and then Bloomingdale and Price, and like you've said, I mean, it was just nice to see kids back in school, and they were excited to be there. A few tears, a few parent tears, the usual, sending the kindergartners into school for the first time. But our staff is so, they're so good at dealing with that, both the students and the parents. And everyone seemed to be getting into their first week routines, and for me, it was just fun to be there. Price got to use their new parent drop-off and pickup lane, or the racetrack, as I refer to it. I'm sure the kids in the neighborhood will get a lot of enjoyment out of that. But good first week.
Thanks, Julie. Noah?
I, too, got to visit a couple schools. I went to Kroninger in the morning, and Principal Rachel Mers, the first day principal, showed us around, and the kids seemed excited to be back, and the teachers sure were excited. We got to spend the afternoon at Haley with Brian Howard, the principal there, and I want to thank, most of the people at Kroninger know me, but some of the Haley people did too, so I want to thank the Haley staff and Mr. Howard, the principal there, for quite frankly entertaining me, because I want to kind of see how it went after school with the drop-off line, because like Price, we just approved that last year, and I think it's not too far to say it was a bit of a hot mess, but I want to let parents know that as soon as the group that organized and ran all this thing, as soon as the doors were shut and the last driver was gone, they started immediately talking about how they can get it better, how they can fix the delays, how they can make it a little smoother. And something I hadn't thought of is I was standing out there with a few kindergartners, and they still don't quite all their numbers yet. When they're number 369 on their bag and their parents 369 on their ticket, that was hard to connect the dots sometimes for those little kids. But I was really impressed and pleased with Mr. Howard and his staff, and I know they're working hard to make things better for those drive-through parents. It was a great week, capped off by a great high school football night. I was the pleasure of being at the Snyder Northside game. Luckily, my team won, but Northside was every bit deserving. And hats off to Coach Ben Johnson Jr., whose dad used to beat me up on the Snyder fields. But they're really a tough team. It was great to see the kids out, great to see the two teams competing and really going at it, and just a phenomenal environment. So that really capped off a great Fort Wayne Community Schools week for me. So that's it.
All right, thank you, Noah. Dr. Daniel?
Likewise, so proud of the staff and everyone coming together in that first day. I think we are heading in a direction where we've been emphasizing culture wins, and part of that is how do we collaborate with each other, how do we empower, and then how do we expand our trust. And I think that's very evident in our buildings and just the spirit in each of our buildings. So very pleased with that. Want to thank all of our staff. And of course, we had that one, Wednesday where we had our send-off, if you will, or our opening day where we're able to Zoom with all 4,000 staff members. So again, I think very pleased with this beginning. We do have some wrinkles. We know that we need to iron out. Those are beginning of the year type things. Enrollment seems as if our students have returned, so that's very positive. Won't have final numbers for a couple of weeks, but again, we're seeing very good trends in that direction. And of course, we just want to remind parents, if your child is feeling ill, please keep them home. And that's the main key there, because our goal is how do we keep school in session, how do we keep students in school, and quite frankly, how do we have the staff to provide the services to instruct and educate our kids. So with that said, knock on wood, very pleased with the beginning. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And I also got to go to 3 different schools. First day, I went to Levon Scott first thing in the morning, and I got to watch them bring their kids in. They all checked in and then came in and got their lunch, and I could see that they were just showing the kids to their classrooms. So I got in line and helped with the kids, showing them to their different classrooms, which was simple because it's this way or that way, or they still have the outside, I don't know what they called them, but the outside
Trailers.
Classrooms, yes. They call them something better sounding than trailer.
Manufactured classrooms.
Manufactured classrooms, so it was pretty simple. And then I went to Northcrest after that, I believe, and they were already in their classes, so I just took a little tour because I had gone through kindergarten and through second grade there, so it was interesting to see since I hadn't been there since I was 8 years old. And then I went to Northside, where I graduated from and also worked there. So again, I was excited to get to show the kids around the building. When I got home, well, no, probably around noon, I looked at my phone and I had already done 20,000 steps. I think probably 15,000 were at Northside. Because it's a long haul to show a kid a classroom in Northside, but it was a great time. So I've also been keeping track of what schools started with masks and schools who've had to add masks. And we get that information about just the school news in general every morning from someone with the Indiana School Board Association. So I just thought, well, I'm going to see, what schools had to backpedal and add masks and do things they hadn't started the school year with. And I don't know if my list is comprehensive, but 18 districts started with masks, but well more than that had to add masks for a certain period of time. Some had to quarantine like 400 kids. Some shifted to virtual learning for a couple weeks. So I'm just really glad that we started as we did with the masks, so we don't have to do any backpedaling, and I think we made a good decision on that. And one last thing, I copied and pasted a little bit from something that Angie sent us Angela Filler, our clerk of the board, sent us from Verizon, who did a write-up on our technology department because of our going one-to-one last school year and getting kids with somehow getting on the internet and getting their own devices and things like that, and using the MiFi through Verizon. And they were just so impressed with the way our technology department worked on that. So I wanted to give a kudos to Jack and his department. Let's see, I'm just reading from what they wrote. Bird and his team had a mere 2 weeks to pre-configure and distribute the first batch of 7,000 MiFis to families, in addition to creating training videos on how to set them up. It was not an easy task. Each device had to be unboxed, turned on, configured with MDM software, and repackaged. But they were able to do it. They worked night and day. So kudos to Jack and his staff for doing such an impressive job in that time. And I believe that is all I have for this evening. So is there a motion on the floor to
Move adjourn.
adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. And